cooperation with ES System. And I'm here to just talk a bit about the guide that we call Modern Hospital Light, or also in healthcare facilities. I've been in Glamox for the last 7 years, both in the GMO or the marine and oil business, but also now in the healthcare sector. So this is the outline of my presentation. I will just talk a bit about what defines a good clean room luminaire. Then I will talk a bit about biological light and the use of human-centric light in this purpose. Then I will talk a bit about the therapeutic light and how we use human-centric lighting to actually make it therapeutic. And the last part will be about ergonomic light. How can we characterize a good clean room luminaire? Well, it's the robust design, it's the easy cleanable surfaces, of course, the excellent light output, the thorough testing of the luminaires, and of course all of the expected, what you expect from a modern type of luminaire. In a healthcare facility, you have a lot of different areas that need really strength specifications and cases of cleanness. That's why in a operating theater you need a ISO 1 cleanless luminaires, but in a psychiatric ward you need actually a high impact luminaire as well as a good clean room luminaire. Glamox chosen to use the Fraunhofer Institute on how to test the clean room luminaires that we have, the C64 and the C65. This is the clean room range that we have. And we actually have the ISO 14644-1. This is a particle emission test. Just to describe what the test actually goes on, ISO 1 is if you have the ISO 1 certification, you actually do all of the rest of the classes. So the test states that you can only have 10 particles on a lower surface than 1 micron. So just a comparison, a human hair has about 12 microns. And also the certification on EN 6598. It's a standard for luminaires that will be used in clinical areas in hospitals, both on medical strength and endurance. In all of the luminaires that I've been talking about, of course it's important to do a light management system. This can reduce cost. It can correct the light where you need it and how you need it. And also it can reduce the maintenance cost. Both this, and you can monitor the emergency lights, and you can also monitor the status of the luminaires. In a healthcare facility, the luminaires have different types of lifetime, and they use the majority of them are 24/7 all year around. So just to give you the aspect of how long this actually is, 50,000 hours, if you buy a luminaire with 50,000 hours, that's 5.6 years. And that's more or less a branch standard. You can also have a 100,000 hour luminaire, and you will actually have a luminaire that's 11.2 years. Okay, let's go a bit into what we define as human-centric lighting. Lighting solutions can produce light of different colors and color temperatures and intensify in order to provide ideal visual working conditions on challenging environments and or stimulate for human-centric circadian rhythm. So I will go a bit into the three segments that we define as our biological lighting. It can improve the healthcare. It has a higher activity, makes a higher activity during the daytime. It has the possibility to give better sleep and, of course, then shorter recovery. This is how we look at how we can lit a patient room. This is a basic solution. You have a loose recessed luminaire to just make a clean aesthetic look. And you also have a reading light in on the side of the bed where you can dim up and off. Or you can go for a bit higher standard where you can have both the round luminaires and a wall-mounted luminaire that gives a really good general light, but also a downlight. Therapeutic light. We are working a lot on looking into the blue block light segment. A study that was made on how blue block light actually can reduce the manic symptoms for bipolar patients. From at a hospital in Norway, they built up a own psychiatric ward where they, from 8:30 to the 8 in the morning, they reduce all access to blue light, both in luminaires, but also in screens in front of the windows and things like that. And this was to aim a shorter patient stay and to help them. And it was aimed to make the patients manage their symptoms. This study was actually shown in the bipolar disorder paper, and it's an alternative for a LED lighting system that can be installed in hospital units. You can read it here, and it's really shown how good we could do this work. Also, the look on how use of glasses was the treatment of the study that initiated the psychiatric ward at the hospital. This is how the patient's room looks. At the same room, by the same type of luminaire, you can have the three different types of lights. The warm white, the cold white, and the amber light. The amber light is blue block light. And all of this is from the same light fixture. They were used in the warm white in the early morning and the cold white during the day and the amber in the evening, just to give both the people with disorders better sleep, but also people with sleeping disorders better sleep. In the morning, they had a light therapy corner that used a lot of the C64s. It was fixed to a 6,500 Kelvin. It had a manually on and off, and of course dimming. And the illuminance level was 8,000 lux at a 45 centimeter. And the patients used it 30 to 60 minutes in the morning. Also, the shades in front of the window showing that that they actually blocked out all of blue light, so it was no blue light coming into the board. Okay, let's go a bit into ergonomical light. And an example, this is from a hospital in the southern part of Norway. The tender was that they had a lot of operating theaters that they needed to supply light to. And the surgeons, they had a request that they wanted to change the color in the room due to the fact that they wanted to have a more better contrast on the screens that they were using. And they had also seen that in some other of the European hospitals that had a success rate on it. So they changed out the color on the wall in front of the surgeon and also in the back of the surgeon using two different types of colors so that the screen was more better, and they actually used the surgeon had a better he was not that tired during the surgery. And they divided it into 4 zones using individual adjustable light and CCT luminaires over the patient's bed, and RGB and or different type LEDs that on the color system. So you can see the colors in the pictures below. The control panel that they used for the screens on the wall, the zone 2, 3, and 4 was equipped with the RGBWs, and the zone 1 and 2 had the CCTs, so they can also change the color temperature in the room. And the feedback from the hospital was actually that the doctors had a background light that is considerably more pleasant to work under, and thus they become less fatigued. This is the tremendous side effect in this case and for the lung operations. This was the electrical department manager at Sørlandet Hospital. This is just a reference list. I wanted to just show you a lot of the different hospitals that we are working currently and have worked on using healthcare lighting. So that was my presentation. So if there are any questions, please.